University, Max Abrahms. Thanks very much for speaking to us on Sky World News. Your first impression of the potential type of device that may have been used and therefore the possible perpetrators?
I think that there are a number of questions we just don't know. We do not know which group is responsible for this, or indeed whether it's a group at all. It may well be a lone wolf attack. But one thing that is clear is that the perpetrators had weak capability. Surely they wanted to make a bigger mark on history, an even bigger mark on history by killing even more people. It sounds right now that there are about 3 deaths, although scores of casualties, and that's not, I mean, that's a far cry from the kind of attack that happened on 9/11, or indeed the London Underground bombing. And so all we can say at this point is that the perpetrators seem amateurish.
President Obama himself very keen to steer away from actually saying the word terrorism, but you mentioned there 9/11, that was foreign perpetrators, foreign terrorists. London 7/7 for us here in the UK was domestic. What are your indications as to whether this was domestic or foreign attack?
At this point, again, it really could be either. When people think about Al-Qaeda attacks, they should not think about the kinds of attacks that happened, from around 2001 to 2005. Basically, the nature of Al-Qaeda attacks have changed. The United States, flushed out the Al-Qaeda leadership, beginning in Operation Tora Bora right after 9/11. And since then, the group has become increasingly decentralized and flatter and networked, such that the perpetrators are more likely to be directed not from Al-Qaeda Central, but as sort of loosely affiliated cells which do much smaller attacks, the kinds of attacks which we saw today in Boston. On the other hand, Al-Qaeda is not the only terrorism threat that the U.S. faces. The United States also faces right-wing extremists. And this is actually kind of around the time of year when we might expect to see sort of like the Timothy McVeigh type bomber come out of the woodwork, because it's the anniversary of Waco, when the U.S. invaded a large group of these kinds of sympathizers. So I think that it's either an Al-Qaeda affiliated group or a right-wing extremist group, kind of like Timothy McVeigh, who bombed the Murrah building in Oklahoma City in the 90s.
Well, domestic or foreign security has nonetheless been heightened across the country, not least where you are in Washington. Talk us through what kind of procedures are put in place in the aftermath of this sort of incident.
I mean, the key thing is just to be vigilant, really. I think that it's that the key to counterterrorism is really cooperation. And so right now you see the NYPD, New York Police Department, helping out in Boston, and Washington, D.C. is on alert. I understand San Francisco is on alert. And so basically there's going to be a lot of coordination internally within the United States, as well as probably internationally.
Okay, Max Abrahms there, live for us from Washington, who is a fellow at the Johns Hopkins University. Very interesting to get your thoughts there on the security situation across the United States now. If you're just joining us here on Sky News, we are bringing you continuing coverage of the aftermath of those Boston explosions. We understand that 3